let's pull up a chair and dim the lights a bit, because today's explainer, it isn't your standard run-of-the-mill lore breakdown. Now, it's more like a dark bedtime story. We're diving straight into the shadows of the Moniyan Empire to uncover the absolute heartbreak behind one of Mobile Legends' most tragic figures. We're talking about a lost prince, total corruption, and a destiny that was just violently rewritten. Think about this for a second. What if the greatest enemy of the Moniyan Empire was actually its own lost prince? Right? Just let that sink in. It completely flips the script on the stakes we're dealing with here. We aren't just looking at some random, faceless monster trying to tear down a kingdom. We're talking about a stolen child, literally weaponized against his own home.
If you play the game, you know Dyrroth, the Prince of the Abyss. He's that in-your-face fighter, dealing massive charge and burst damage. But here's the thing, that crazy, aggressive, explosive playstyle in the Land of Dawn, it's a mask. It perfectly hides an incredibly melancholic lore. He doesn't fight like a calm, composed royal knight, you know? He dives right in, shatters defenses, and just attacks with his pure, violent rage. And today, we're gonna see exactly where that rage comes from. Part 1. The Prince of Light. Okay, so before all the darkness, Dyrroth was born into the actual royal bloodline of the Moniyan Empire. And his birth wasn't just, a happy family milestone. It was a massive symbol. To the Empire, this kid represented justice, the continuity of the throne, basically a bright, powerful future for all of Moniyan. He was quite literally destined for light. He was supposed to grow up surrounded by nobility, learning compassion, and eventually becoming this grand royal knight protecting his people. But instead, look at what he actually became. A creature completely forged in darkness. The real tragedy here is that his original, noble destiny was ripped away before he even took his first steps. His entire path was stolen. Which brings us to part 2. Stolen by the Abyss. Enter Alice, Queen of the Blood Demons. And the source material is super clear here. Alice didn't just launch a random attack on a kingdom. She specifically targeted its future. She crept right into the heart of the Moniyan Empire and abducted this tiny prince before he could even understand who he was. When you trace it out, from his birth in Moniyan to this horrific childhood kidnapping, then his brutal youth training under Thammuz, all the way to his current role as the vanguard of the Abyssal invasion, you realize pretty quickly this wasn't just a kidnapping. It was an incredibly calculated theft. By taking him, Alice snatched away the light and guaranteed that the Empire's brightest hope would mutate into its absolute worst nightmare. And you want to know the most heartbreaking part of the whole shebang? To the Abyss, this stolen kid wasn't a victim, not at all. To them, he was a masterpiece in progress. Alice and the Abyssal forces looked at him and saw the ultimate opportunity. They had a blank royal canvas, a child born from pure light that they could mold and twist into terrifying perfection. Their goal was to create a prince whose loyalty belonged entirely to the dark.
Part 3. Raised in Darkness.
Can you imagine swapping out a mother's warmth for the cold, calculated manipulation of Alice? Or trading a normal childhood for brutal combat training under Thammuz? His environment literally became his destiny. Think about his lessons: survival over family, domination over compassion. He was drilled really, that weakness absolutely must be crushed, and that violence is the only real power in the world. See, Dyrroth wasn't born evil. Not at all. He was just completely submerged in suffocating darkness until that darkness was the only thing he knew. He became the son of darkness, totally embracing a savagery that should have been totally foreign to his true bloodline.
Part 4. The Sister Who Remembers. Now, there is one tiny glimmer of hope in all this mess, and that's Princess Sylvana. She's huge in Dyrroth's lore because, unlike the Abyss, she actually remembers the blood bond between them. She never let go of the memory of her stolen baby brother. She looks at him and sees family, a piece of her own heart that desperately needs saving. But Dyrroth? Oh man, Dyrroth just sees a chain that needs to be broken. To him, the whole concept of a sibling is just weird, foreign. His memories, his absolute loyalty, they belong to the Abyss. He looks at blood ties not as love, but as this pathetic weakness that he needs to violently cut away.
Part 5. The Meaning of Brother.
So this massive clash of ideals, it sets the stage for their inevitable, tragic showdown. The Dawnbreak plan kicks off, and the lost boy finally returns home. But he's leading the Abyssal forces to drown his own empire in shadow. It is exactly the twisted revenge the Abyss wanted.
And right in the middle of all this chaotic invasion, Sylvana steps up and faces him. She looks straight at this terrifying, corrupted creature, and she just says one single word: brother. I mean, think about the heavy, profound weight of that word. Because that specific recognition, it forced Dyrroth, a fighter built entirely on aggression and instinct, to hesitate. And that tiny, split second of hesitation proved something huge. It proved the Moniyan prince inside him wasn't entirely dead.
But, as we all know, on a battlefield, hesitation is lethal. That one fleeting moment of doubt gave Sylvana the opening she needed, and her holy spear struck him. It wounded him bad, forcing him to retreat with Alice's help. But listen, this was not just some physical defeat. Being struck by that holy spear triggered a massive, earth-shattering internal crisis for Dyrroth.
So he falls back to the Sanguine Lair. This is Alice's blood-soaked domain deep inside the Abyss, and it's basically a place of terrifying rebirth. And this is where the story gets deeply, deeply symbolic. That wound from Sylvana's holy spear, it absolutely refuses to heal. It becomes this haunting, agonizing physical metaphor. He is literally walking around with the light of his original bloodline and the darkness of the Abyss actively warring inside his own body. It's wild.
Part 6. Choosing the Abyss. So now he's faced with this unhealing wound and the sudden, jarring realization of his actual past. The manipulated prince finally has the truth, a truth that could totally set him free. And yet, he makes his final, heartbreaking choice. He chooses power. He chooses darkness. He actively severs the bond. Dyrroth looks at Rescue and just says, no. He doesn't return to the light. He hugs the Abyss tight, simply because, at the end of the day, it's the only home that ever gave him an identity. Even if it's a twisted sense of purpose, it's his. He's not just a puppet anymore, guys. He actively chooses the path that was so cruelly laid out for him.
Before we wrap this up, it is super fascinating to look at how this deep lore ties directly into how he actually looks and plays in the game. His base Prince of the Abyss look perfectly captures that vibe of corrupted royalty. And then you have his alternate, futuristic skins like Venom Cobra, which totally keep that fiercely aggressive, almost venomous aura. And his playstyle? Diving in, punishing enemies, running purely on destructive emotion, it perfectly embodies a survivor built by the Abyss to attack first and dominate quickly. He plays exactly, literally exactly, how his lord dictates he should.
Which brings us to our final question for today. Is Dyrroth a villain? Or is he simply a survivor of his own environment? I mean, he could have been a symbol of hope. He could have been a brother fighting right alongside Sylvana. But instead, his destiny was stolen from him, and he was molded into the exact weapon meant to destroy his own light. It really leaves you wondering about the true nature of monsters, doesn't it? Are they born, or are they made in the dark? Think about that the next time you lock in the Prince of the Abyss on the battlefield.